I'm very late to reacting to this video, but I'm recording after day 1 of Wuthering Waves, and I have gotten my 5-star. Unfortunately, it was not Jianxin. However, there is still a 5-star selector. So if this guide can show me that Jianxin is actually like playable and very fun to play, I'll probably put that as my 5-star selector. By the way, I got Calchero. Honestly, I don't know if I'm actually gonna use him because I don't really have any 4-star broad blade. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to be forced to use him because he's my only 5-star right now. Uh, my 4 stars are I don't even have Danjing. So yeah, let's see if Gacha Smack here can give me a great guide on Jianxin and convince me she's still very good. Give me more of that copium, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video by yours truly. We have Wuthering Waves in the spotlight in today's video, the latest and greatest open world action RPG with data sharing across multiple platforms. It's free to play friendly and it's coming with a bundle of rewards that
Okay, yeah, the Wuthering Waves is free to play friendly, but I'm having that moment where like I'm doubting who to put my resources into. Cause if I'm gonna put it into a 4-star, it should at least be a good 4-star so that it's future proof for at least a few months and doesn't get like completely screwed over the moment I enter some sort of hard difficulty. So I would think that investing into a 5-star like Caltrara would be needed for future proofing my account.
will be available upon launch, incentivizing you to, at the very least, give the game a try. Speaking of launch, comes out on May 22nd.
Yeah, man, if you haven't tried Wuthering Waves, it is amazing. I really enjoyed the combat. It feels so smooth and nice. The exploration is fast, unlike a certain fucking game. But yeah, please give Wuthering Waves a try. I know the story isn't as great as Honkai Star Rail, but damn, is the gameplay so nice.
And if you want to download it a little bit early, you can pre-download it on the 21st. Feel free to use my link down below in the description box or the pinned comment in the comment section. There'll be a redemption code attached to it with some juicy rewards. Also, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Wuthering Waves for sponsoring this video and enabling me to show you my hard work behind the scenes and what I have been cooking up. With all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. Also, just a quick little disclaimer before we get into the juicy content. All footage that you see in this video is from the test server build, and the final performance and product of Wuthering Waves will be available on the official release version. Jianxin. I also like to call her Kung Fu Panda because of her black and white hue mixed with the yin and yang concept, and she throws hands as her weapon of choice. Yeah, I like to call her Kung Fu Panda, but Jianxin is, before we go any further, she's my favorite character in the game. I completely adore her aesthetic and her design. Whoever out there is responsible for this woman's design, God bless your soul. You truly have a gift among
one of the finest characters ever shown, and it was just really disappointing that everyone, when they used her during beta, and it was like damn bad. So yeah,
the gods here. But getting back to the core concept of this video, I strive to bring you guys the most insight possible on Jianxin and all the characters that I'm going to be covering, Mortefi included. There's been a lot of people out there saying that she's not that good, that she's going to be mid. I don't know what their metrics are or what their experience is. But
their experience was that her things were too slow to cast, and it just didn't feel very good if you're casting like a very slow ability in a game like Wuthering Waves, where you have to like dodge and stuff. Unless you're like a god where you're like able to time your stuff very nicely, you're gonna have a really hard time playing with Jianxin.
Based off of what I have tested, taking out my bias, this girl is far from not being good. Honestly, I think she's even far from being mid.
Really?
What I've seen, she's quite broken. Okay. Now, if you're going just based off of some DPS charts, I don't know. I feel like this is the kind of game where it's purely based off of reacting and responding. And depending on the character you're utilizing, there's a different level of mastery and difficulty and skill cap required to make that character function. And so long as you understand these concepts, I think a lot of these characters are probably going to be quite good.
Yeah, so that was the main problem with Jianxin. It's like you must have like the patience and the timing, and you must know like, okay, when can I charge up this skill that to do this? If not, you're gonna have a really hard time trying to like play like other characters. Like Coucharo, you can just keep click, you just keep click 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 E, you know. But with Jianxin, I believe there's like more timing and stuff, which makes a kid more how do I say, patient, more careful. Yeah.
But with that being said, I want to go over the core functionalities of her kit so that you understand that profoundly and how she is intended to be utilized.
Okay.
She
Yeah, maybe I've just like looked at the wrong people reviewing her. Yeah.
is actually a character that is very bursty.
Okay.
She can be a main DPS driver in a bursty fashion, and then you swap her out with her shield being provided to the party that also heals periodically. And then you want to synergize her up with teams or characters that are going to benefit from her outro skill buff, which is a 38% resonance liberation damage bonus, aka that's a buff to their ultimate. So long as you are building her in teams where she's being effective in terms of her bursty damage, providing that shield from a sustainer role, and being a support DPS, I think you're gonna really love this character. Let's go ahead and start off with her basic attack. It's a 4-number sequence. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's face this direction. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That third part of the basic attack is like a whirlwind. It does like multiple ticks and it kind of like reels them in a bit. It's actually one of my favorite like satisfying feels of the basic attack sequence. But then we're going to go into the resonance skill. The resonance skill is going to be her parry, which the game already has a parry system where you're trying to find that circle on the enemy to then trigger and time a attack to line up with that circle that parries them and immobilizes them partially for you to deal some damage. Well, she has a parry built into her own kit, right? So, and that's going to be her resonance skill. Now, I want you to pay close attention to how long the animation lasts, because how long the animation lasts is actually going to be the iframes as well. And it triggers a auto counter attack that negates damage. 0 damage will be received during this animation should you be hit. So let's pay attention to it. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. That's how long that animation lasts, and those are the iframes for when you get hit.
Oh, that is so different from what I thought. Oh, that's so different from what I thought. So the entire thing was iframe, and like it's not like if you fuck up and you mistime it, they'll just hit through you and destroy your ass. No, it's an entire. That's crazy. Wait.
He is going to trigger a auto.
Maybe I didn't research her correctly, and that's why she never came to me.
Counter that deals more damage than if you let it go manually. So you deal more damage when you trigger this auto parry, which is actually so broken to me because
is it a hold down? Like, am I supposed to hold that down?
the iframes are 3 seconds long. Coming from Monster Hunter, where the longsword, you don't have 3 seconds of iframes. You probably barely have 1 second. So that is a very enticing option for probably people who come from Monster Hunter playing that longsword player, you know? It's going to be quite fulfilling for casuals as well, who probably aren't going to be as quick of a reactor to the game's like combat system. This kind of character, you pop this skill and yeah, she's going to do a full counter. Now, obviously he has an 8-second window of cooldown down there, which honestly really ain't that bad. That's pretty dang good considering that you also have a dodge system.
So I think this is just gonna be like showing that I was a goddamn dumbass. Like 3 seconds of iframe and a counter, like, ooh, it's gonna be easier for slow reacting people, like, funny enough, instead of what I thought was like, oh, you need to be a pro player to use her.
You know, you're over here dashing, and then they hit you. You can parry that with a perfect dodge. So when you combine all of these different pulls we have to dodge, parry, parry again, this girl can actually be quite broken. It doesn't stop there, by the way, because the flexibility of the resonant skill, you can let it go early if you want. Why would you do that though if you do more damage when she does the auto parry? Well, maybe you want to time that resonant skill to actually trigger the parry of the enemy. Because like I told you, there's gonna be times where you're tapping that basic attack and you're reacting to what the enemy's doing, right? In the middle of a basic attack sequence though, you see they're getting ready to do the attack where you can parry them. So you're gonna do that middle of the attack sequence and then you're gonna immediately go into this, and you might have to let it go a little bit early to trigger that parry perfectly, if that makes sense. Now, this next part, I'm gonna need you guys to lock in because this is actually gonna be the most crucial, important, and paramount mechanic in Jianxin's kit. And it's gonna pertain to the Forte gauge down here. This right here is called the Forte gauge. It is a mechanic that is very prevalent and intricate in Wuthering Waves for all the characters. And a lot of the characters' kits, in fact, all of the characters' kits are going to revolve around using this gauge effectively to maximize their performance. Jianxin's gauge has to be filled to the brim in order to be used at all. Some characters, like Farina, you can do a skill to fill up the gauge a little bit, and you can use it immediately, right? To do a little bit of the perk, right? So she has way more flexibility with her gauge. There's nuance to the gauge for different characters, but for Jianxin in particular, you have to fill the gauge all the way up to the brim in order for it to be utilized. Using her skill fills up the gauge, doing damage, counters, parry. There's a lot of different things that will fill up this gauge. Give me some time because I want to fill up the gauge. But before I do, the gauge turns her heavy attack into the bread and butter of her damage. The gauge also is what creates the shields and periodically heals people. Everything about her kit.
Yeah, this was the main thing that I saw. I forgot which YouTuber showed off, but like basically she was like taking a long time to charge up, and I just thought, nah, if you're gonna take this long to charge up to heal and shield, right, it's not really gonna be worth it.
That makes her a very powerful character.
But I didn't realize that it gave heavy attack damage.
Revolves around using this gauge effectively. But this is what her heavy attack looks like when you don't have the gauge filled up. It's actually quite worthless. So you're never really going to use this heavy attack. I'll be completely honest with you. The only time you use the heavy attack is when the gauge is filled. Now let's fill the gauge up real quick. All right, now that we have our gauge filled up, we can go ahead and show you how it looks. But before we do, this to the left, in case you didn't know, is the concerto meter. This is what you're gonna need to fill up when you're doing your intro and outro skills and chaining all kinds of sequences of combos and buffs as well. Yep, you're welcome. Anyways, this gauge, once it's filled to the brim, now you see these pop up. What are these? What are these little lines down here? These are the levels of a shield that she can provide, because if you stop casting this ability, you have to hold it down for it to be casted.
Yeah, exactly.
If you stop casting it early, you're only going to get a level of shield based off the duration of the gauge that you stopped casting the shield. Ideally, you want to hold it down until it goes all the way to the bottom, because then you get the level 3 shield, which is the beefiest shield for your team, and it's going to last the longest, and so on and so forth. But the cool thing about this gauge that is also beneficial is, once you cast the heavy attack, when you're in the midst of casting the heavy attack, you have increased anti-interruption. Yep. What? So if the enemies are attacking you, she just eats them. She eats them. Honey Nut Cheerios.
What? Huh? Wait, like... Wait, explain.
All right.
Wait, what?
Chocolate chip peanut butter cookies, she munching on them. She does not move. Now, it says increased anti-interruption, which implies that there are some attacks in the game that probably will interrupt you out of this state. But anti-interruption in and of itself is very broken. Also, reduce damage by 50% while you're casting.
Oh, there's damage reduction in it? Bro, I have done Jianxin so fucking wrong by just assuming like everything. Oh my god, no wonder she didn't come.
This heavy attack. And then most importantly, it is the biggest damage dealing factor of her kit. All right, let's see what it looks like. It's actually my favorite. It's one of my favorite looking abilities in the game. Look at it. Ooh. Ooh. Oh man, I love how it looks, bro. Oh man, I never get tired of looking at that bad boy. But as you can see, we have our shield now. It periodically heals us. We can switch to other characters. The shield remains intact. It continues to periodically heal, and it lasts for about.
So my question is, right, is the anti-attack interruption, will you will still take damage, right? Like, sure, it's a, I mean, okay, if I look at it this way, right, with the 50% damage reduction and you're decently leveled, right, and with the anti-attack interruption, right, if the enemy doesn't do that much damage to you, then yeah, your shield and health will like out heal it out. But what if he does interrupt, and what if you standing there and charging that out for so long? Like, I don't know, man. Seems a bit long, and you also have to weigh in that they don't like completely screw you over with like attack that does interrupt, or a attack that just do more damage than what you're gaining with the shield and HP. I mean, but the shield does look quite big, so perhaps perhaps it would still be worth to do that. 50% damage reduction as well.
About
I didn't realize it had 50% damage reduction. I thought you were gonna take the brunt of the hit and you die.
30 seconds. This is what I was telling you why her kit is very complete. Because not only can she shield and heal, she can deal damage, and she's very bursty. In fact, this circuit gauge and the thing you just saw me cast, which is her forte effect, or forte circuit, I'm sorry. We have the forte gauge down here, and then we have the forte circuit. That was her forte circuit ability. That works in tandem with her ultimate as very high burst damage.
Meaning?
It's considered a heavy attack, so she synergizes with more Teffy. Oh man, I can't wait to show you that combo. It's beautiful. But you want to make sure you're timing the windows of that forte circuit effect in tandem with the ultimate. This means you're going to have to find the windows to pull that off, which breeds mastery and challenge over the character.
Exactly. Yeah, so like I said, you are taking a long time to charge. So one of the most obvious time is like when you break the enemy's bar, then that's like a perfect time to pop bar. But other than that, before you break, I find it very hard to like cast it successfully without taking too much damage.
Which I love. And now finally, we've come to her ultimate.
I'm not taking in the 50% damage reduction because right now how I'm playing the game, I was like level 20 with like level 1 weapon fighting a level 35 crowner, getting my ass smacked. So my idea of how much damage I'm taking is definitely like very different. Cause in the beta he's level 40 and he has like 5 times my HP right now. Like, what the hell?
Ultimate. Now her ultimate is essentially a blender. In fact, her whole kit is a blender when you talk about the damage she's capable of dishing out. This is a blender, her forte circuit, and then her ultimate combined with the forte circuit becomes an even bigger blender. And then when you combine,
I can imagine it once I get her, and if I am good at her. Blender Jianxin.
in that with more Teffy's ult, it becomes the ultimate blender. It's like a gravitational bomb at that point, or a black hole, so to speak. But let's go ahead and combine the two. We're gonna pop R with her ultimate. Beautiful animation. And then combining that with the fourth circuit, we're just gonna go ahead and start casting that. This is that bursty window where you wanna make sure the monster is like immobilized, or just that window of opportunity to pull it all off, because on top of that, you're gonna then pop more Teffy's ult and make it all come together. Now that we've went over her whole entire kit, I wanna put that combo together in a showcase so that you can see how she performs. All right, let's go ahead and see how we fare. Gonna go ahead and lock onto him first thing, jump in the air, avoid that attack, pop this, then we'll pop ult. We fare. Gonna go ahead and lock onto him first thing, jump in the air, avoid that attack, pop this, then we'll pop ult. Dodge. Switch out to our girl. Parry. Good parry. Dodge.
Bro, what the fuck is Verena? She's off the fucking screen for like a solid 3 seconds already, and her fucking attacks are still going. Excuse me? It's still going.
Is he gonna counter here? Good parry. We're already about to break his shield. Dodge. All right.
Mac might be a very goated player. Whoa. Okay. The boss HP is already less than half, but let's see the burst, I guess.
Let's go ahead and pop in for the combo. Scale into ult. Back into Jianxin. Pop ult. Into Forte circuit ability.
Oh wait, whoa, what the fuck?
Scale into ult.
Okay.
Back into Jianxin. Pop ult. Into Forte circuit ability.
Oh my god, that fucking bar is... Okay, I must keep in mind, he probably has good echoes considering his 11k HP, but damn, that is still high.
And he couldn't even... Now, I swear, that guy's level 45.
Yeah, like...
I'm level 40. Mortefi's level 40. We didn't even get to do... Well, I don't even think we got to do half of the blender. The guy just got completely decimated.
Yeah, well, you fucking had Verena. Like, you took out so much HP at the start already.
That was half of the blender. He got decimated.
Okay, if that is half of the blender, then I can definitely see it like taking out about like 70-80% of the boss HP also.
But we did the combo pretty relatively smooth. The only thing we forgot to do was use our echo. The monkey. If we would have landed the monkey, then we would have gotten, in fact, let me pull it up. We would have gotten another 12% increase in arrow damage, and our heavy attack would have...
Oh, so you have to use the monkey after you swap in after the Mortefi?
Gotten another 12% increase in heavy damage as well. So we did forget to pop the monkey echo skill. That was a flaw on my behalf, but it is a beautiful bursty combo if you time everything correctly. I
regret doubting Jianxin. I did not think that she will do that much damage with the ulti and the enhanced heavy, because I was purely thinking that, oh, this is just gonna heal and shield. Nah, it does quite a lot of damage. Provided this is Mortefi buff, and I'm not sure if Verena has like a attack buff or whatever, but it's still quite a decent amount, at least compared to what I'm doing.
Used our concerto effect quite smoothly as well. We made sure to not only outro skill with Jianxin, but we intro skilled with our boy Mortefi back in to another outro skill, subbing back in the intro skill of Jianxin. It was basically...
I need to replay that. Do you need to have Jianxin's intro skill back up before, or you just pop it and then you swap immediately?
Scale into ult. Back into Jianxin. Pop ult.
I don't think
into ult. Back into Jianxin.
Oh wait.
And pop in for the combo. Scale into ult. Back into...
Oh, I think just in time for the... Well, for her to get the intro.
To Jianxin. Pop ult. Into Forte circuit ability.
That's fucking crazy, though. Alright, back to what you're saying.
Mortefi back in to another outro skill, subbing back in the intro skill of Jianxin. It was basically outro, intro, intro, outro. Real smooth transition, popping the ults and making sure we used them. And we didn't even get to see the full effect of it. Now, I do want to move on to how I am building her. What I recommend building her for, and the team compositions and so on and so forth. I truly think she should be attached to the hip of a Mortefi. He is just an insane support for her because of the heavy attack damage.
That is good, because I have Mortefi in my account. He's actually like the only 4-star character I have outside of the free ones that they give. I don't think I have anyone else except Mortefi right now.
Damage bonus, and his ultimate synergizes with her heavy attack, which is crazy. But I strongly recommend he's to the hip of her. And then that third character, Verena's probably going to be the best in slot third character in the game, because not only can she heal, she can deal damage without being on the field with her ultimate. She's a smooth transitioner. She's just a great all-around third option. But to be honest, as long as you have these two, the third option, you can put anybody else you want on the team. Verena preferably, but anybody else, you can do a dual DPS Jianxin if that's what you want to do. That's up to you. In terms of the build, she's level 40. She's rocking the Marcato. I like the energy regen because she does take a good amount of energy regen to get her resonance liberation meter up, which again, that's her ult.
Wait. Resonance liberation is the alt, right? And forte is the bar? I mean, you need both, so it's good.
The passive is
to get the energy regen. But if it ups the forte, right, that'll be
pretty nice. The Concerto energy helps with getting up her out.
No, it shouldn't up the forte, because forte is like purely how you, like, it's different for different fortes. Like for example, for Yang, right, you have to like do that heavy attack, then the follow up, then you'll charge up the skill. But for like Jianxin, you need to do damage and whatnot. I think it's like a set amount. You can't really like increase your forte gain, unless I'm dumb and I'm not reading the mechanics. Actually, I'm not reading mechanics at all, so I may be wrong about this.
Outro and intro skill triggers, but I actually really like the battle pass option. The battle pass option scales with crit rate, and it's the only gauntlet from what I know.
Guys, Makoto, you saw the damage. If you don't have the money, do not worry and do not be pressured to get this.
Oh, that scales with crit rate as a substat. And obviously, if we had an additional, whatever that is, I think it's like 20 to 25, might even be 30, I don't know. But an additional 20% crit rate bare minimum is massive, right? So I do like Marcato, but you can also use the Battle Pass option. And there's one other gauntlet.
Use Makoto. It's free. It's quote unquote free. I think you have to pull for it, but like it's quote unquote free. Like you will probably eventually get it, or if you're lucky, you have it already. But yeah, unless you have the money, please don't fucking spend on the pass, man. We're all brokies here. You can't do it, just say you can't do it.
That's pretty strong. Yeah, it's called the Gauntlet number 21D, and it says when dodging or dashing, the attack increases by 8%. The damage caused by the dodge counterattack increases by 50% and lasts for 8 seconds. So your dodge counterattacks become way stronger. When the dodge counterattack hits the target, it restores 5% health to the character.
But I don't think that helps with the ult, right?
And can be triggered one time every 6 seconds. So you become even more unkillable. It also scales with energy recharge, which helps with ult. So I like those options. There's another one called Hollow Mirage that scales off of attack percent and gives you attack and defense after casting Resonance Liberation. I'm not a big fan of that one, but the attack percent scaling is nice. Those are the options I recommend. In terms of the Echo build, if you're planning to make her a main DPS, obviously put the wind set with the wind character, right? Arrow damage increase, arrow damage increase. That's pretty much all you need to know. So you put the arrow damage set on her. My main stats are crit rate main stat, double arrow damage bonus right here. And then we got attack percent for the level 1 Echo. So we have one Overlord Calamity / Calamity class. We have 2 elites right here. They're 3 costs. You can see that right there. 3 cost points, 3 cost points, 4 cost points. Then we have 2 level 1s. With this build, she's incredibly strong. If you want to test around with like energy recharge as the main stat instead of additional arrow damage bonus and see how that goes with ult uptime, maybe it works. That's a possibility. There's also attack percent main.
I will have to see. Okay, I don't have her right now, so I'll probably come back to this like guy in the future when I get her. But if she really does take very long time for the resonance for her ult, then it's definitely gonna be better if you go for the energy regen for consistency. At least from playing Jianxin and Honkai Star Rail, right? Having consistency in your ult, knowing that you can hit that ult after casting disability and whatnot, right, is very nice. So it doesn't break the flow of things.
Stats, but as far as substats go, you want to go for heavy attack damage bonus, resonation liberation damage bonus because the ult blender, and crit damage and crit rate. That's what I recommend. But if you get skill damage bonus, that's nice too for the counter parry. Those are juicy. Now, if you're using her as a support DPS, I recommend running the other set, which is going to be right here, the Moonlit Cloud set. This is what my Mortefi is rocking. This set, as I told y'all, is probably the best supportive set in the game. Not only does it give you energy regen increase, but it says after using an outro skill, the attack of the next resonator is increased by 22.5% for 15 seconds. So this is a fantastic universal support set for all the support DPS out there. And that's what I would recommend for her if you're planning on using her as a support DPS, as opposed to being the main driver. Now, for this part on Jianxin, I actually left them all at level 1, which goes to show you she can get more.
I mean, we're still early game. We're still late early game. I can still do decent damage with my skills even though they're level 1. It's just my character level and swords are not high level.
Much stronger. But if you're curious as to what to level up right here, the Forge Circuit's going to be the bread and butter. As I told you, this is where she's doing all the damage when you're holding down the enhanced heavy attack, where she's giving bigger.
Bro, Wuthering Wave guide makers are like so needed, cause I'm looking at this and holy shit, is it just numbers galore? Like there's like so much things.
Shield value as well.
I'm too dumb for this game.
Want to prioritize leveling up that Forge Circuit and of course her Resonance Liberation on top of that, and then the basic attack, because you're doing a lot of basic attacks throughout the fight periodically. Resonance Scale, I would say that's last priority. Don't get me wrong, the counter is some good damage, and if you're a Jianxin main, you're going to want to put all this stuff up
unless it increases the duration at which you can like counter, right, from like 3 seconds. 3 seconds is high already, but if they increase it to even further, right, then yeah, it'll be worth upping. I'm assuming you can't, it's just more damage, right?
Eventually, right? But priority number 1 is Forte Circuit, Resonance Liberation, and basic attack for sure. Now, I want to briefly touch up on Mortefi and Verina's builds, just so you can know how to build them on a Jianxin team composition. But we're not going to do a deep dive analysis into their kits just because I want to reserve that for a separate video. So we'll touch up on the builds and the sub stats you want to try and aim for, a little bit of resonance chain value for Mortefi since he's a 4-star character, and then we'll wrap it up. Mortefi, he has none of his resonance chains unlocked. He has some very, very strong resonance chains that I strongly recommend trying to get a couple copies of him off of the Jian banner. This first one right here enables him to synergize with resonance skills with his ultimate. So he already synergizes with basic attack and heavy attack, but once you unlock this, his ult will synergize with basic attack, heavy attack, and resonance skills.
So it will increase the damage of the combo? Cause it's like, yeah, it's an ulti, right?
When you unlock chain 2, he then starts to regenerate additional energy upon casting his skill. This guy, all of his chain is just absolutely cracked. The more you get, the more insane he's going to be. I personally think this is the strongest 4-star in the entirety of the game. The guys, every gacha game has that one 4-star character that has no business being that strong. I think Mortefi's going to be that guy. In regards to how to build him, same concept, except you're going to go for the supportive set I just mentioned with the Impermanence Heroine. Just reminded me, I didn't even use the Impermanence Heroine during that showcase I showed you. If I did, that would have been another 12% damage bonus given to Jianxin. It is what it is, but you want to put that as the main driver. Whoever is in this spot, whatever echo you put in the spot, that's the echo's ability you're going to be using. So this spot is very important. Anyways, crit rate as a main stat, energy regen, I recommend on him because you want to make sure his ult's always up. Fusion damage bonus, attack percent. Now, of course, if you want to do double fusion because you're a damage fiend, I completely understand. If you unlock his E2, it'll be much more easier to manage and micromanage his ultimate. So that's worth mentioning. In terms of the substats, you want to go for crit rate, crit damage, resonance, liberation, damage bonus is very important. Basic attacks also good, and skills also good too. He's pretty damn, that is a cracked echo set. Holy. And then finally for Verena, and that is going to wrap it up for our favorite Kung Fu Panda, aka Jianxin. This monk is an incredible character that you will not regret should you be so lucky to acquire her.
I am terribly sorry, Jianxin. I had the wrong conception about you, and now I just feel bad, and I understand why you didn't come to me. I should have watched this video sooner, and then I'll have faith, copium, and maybe she would have come.
Or use your selector to get her later on down the road when you level up to 45 with union level. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Don't forget that Wuthering Waves is
Thank you, Gacha Smack, for teaching me, a dumbass, how Jianxin actually works. Yo, check out his channel. He's a really great guide maker on Honkai Star Rail, so I'm excited to see him make more guides for Wuthering Waves. Maybe for Calchero next, cause I got him. I got him, so I'm gonna need some help on how to build him. Yeah. Thanks. Any more closing remarks?
releasing on the 22nd of May.
Yeah, it's releasing. So yeah, check out Wuthering Waves. It's been so fun. So it's been very fun so far, and holy shit,